Welcome to late night BBC Radio. It's subclasses part 3, part 3. Subclasses part 2, part 3. This is
boys and girls like that.
We're going to be drawing the College of Creation bard, and everyone's going to love it. Hello, sorry for that terrible intro. It's Unearthed ARTcana.
We didn't introduce ourselves in the second episode. Sorry.
Shush. Maybe.
We didn't introduce our names.
We didn't. No, we like never do. These videos are bad.
I'm Neil.
Okay. No, that's for gentry. These are secret identities.
I'm Fred.
I'm not Sam.
Fred
You
Danger.
can call me Albert Wesker. No, College of Creation is a bard. I'm gonna say straight up that I'm gonna apologise for what I draw. It's terrible. I hate it. But I tried like 3 times to like draw something I didn't hate, and I just thought, sod it, I'm gonna draw something I hate because I don't like this bard, and I don't like. So it's a match, and I'm gonna get like what I don't like about it as quickly as I can out of the way at the beginning, so we can move on and we can put my hate in a bag and stuff it away.
It's like an essay. You can outline it now, and at the end we can come back to it.
Yeah.
Alright, I've got the bin bag open right now.
Yeah. Okay, I'll talk to that and I'll just cut it out. I'll just like fast forward this bit.
We don't have to like everything that comes out of Unearthed ARTcana.
That's how we do. Otherwise, that's what they pay us for.
Wizards of the Coast are never gonna. Gary's gonna cancel his contract with us.
Oh no.
Anyway.
Oh no.
Alright, okay, so the idea of...
Got to pay the Gary Guy tax.
Guys, please, you gotta let me get through this.
I gotta get through this, sorry. Okay.
The College of Creation, first of all, this first paragraph sets out the idea that the D&D universe has a world song narrative thing, which is a thing in some fantasy things, like Lord of the Rings, for example,
Anthem.
where the idea that the world was sung into creation, like the world exists because of music. Like like in Lord of the Rings, literally God sang a song to create the world. Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's step number 1. D&D's like never had, as far as I'm aware, this idea in it. And that's a big thing to suddenly tack on in a subclass. I mean, obviously, like, you don't have to use any of the real settings stuff for, like, you know, subclasses and what you're playing in your universe, whatever, so that doesn't matter too much. But the thing is, the big thing that annoys me about this is that in things that do have world song stuff, the idea of a world song isn't to create, like, it's not to conjure items and have them around. It's that the music is what is the natural order of the world. So, like, the streams are part of the music. It's not, I sing a song and a sword appears.
I sing a song
which is
about
what
plates.
this bard is. Yeah, so... And additionally, 5th edition's approach to bards is to make them a bit more broad in what they can be. They used to be a bit more explicitly musical based, but more recently they've been, you know, branching out. You know, they've got like these the clowns and tumblers and so and that's fine.
Whatever, yeah.
But this is the first, as far as I can think, the first bard that is explicitly a music bard for 5th, and the way that it handles that, I think, is terrible. And it's completely just like tacked on, and that is I'm just disappointed. I'm annoyed at it because I'm very disappointed in because I already like world song narrative stuff. I think that's really cool, but this is not what I would have. This is not what I want out of that. That I think that's everything. Maybe I'll get a flash of annoyance and I'll go on again later. Yeah,
we can have a sidebar.
As a lot of bards, there isn't much to the subclass itself.
Yeah, they only get a couple of things. I think is it only 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, they only get 3 things as subclasses for bards, so they have to try and get a lot in, which is why this has so much text. There's a lot to read, and we're not going to read it verbatim, obviously, that would be madness.
I mean, when I first did Click Subclasses Part 2, and up until just a few moments ago, as soon as I saw this first thing, Note of Potential, I just skipped the whole subclass and went straight to cleric. Like,
Okay, yeah. So let's address the floating note in the room. Their first ability is they literally summon a little magic floating musical note that floats around your head when you give someone when they have a bardic inspiration die, and then when they use their die, they can do one of three things with it, and that's really dumb. For one thing,
I agree. I think that in universe looks and sounds dumb.
It's like, okay, the thing is, right, I don't. If that's what you want, that's fine. But why does it have to? Why does it say that you make a physical, like, visual floating magic? Like, why does that? Why do you have to say that?
You create.
Why can't? Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the reasoning. But like, and like, if I were to be made to play this class, I would say to Jim, hey, do you mind if we can have this feature, but can we just have it so I don't literally like pull a flying like magic note and then have it float around my head like a video game like icon. It's like
a Smite hero.
Yeah, exactly. So the three things that you can do with your note. So basically, and all these like happen when you use your bardic inspiration die. So basically, all it is you have now got three more things that go on top of what your die already does,
which is awesome. Yeah. That is cool.
That's really, I honestly, just as someone who's currently playing a bard, that's great, because that would make me want to. Obviously, bardic inspiration is really good, but that would make you want to give them out more and make people want to use them more, which is
so
good.
That is good stuff. And also, like, the inspiration stuff is, I think, the most like easily, if you wanted to play a music bard, that's the one that's like the easiest to put flavor in, because you play a little tune and that inspires your pals. Great stuff, easy peasy. And you could even like mix it up, like what are you playing, what tune are you playing based on what they're choosing of the different notes. So that's cool stuff. First note of destruction. The issue, I think the way the way they work, I don't love, because the first one is each creature within 5 feet of the person who uses the die must make a con saving throw against your spell save DC or take thunder damage equal to the number rolled on the inspiration die. So that's already like there's it's not simplistic, which isn't like an issue, but it's in the middle of someone else's turn. You have to get out your like remind everyone how that works and like get your spell. It's just a bit. I feel like it feels a bit clumsy, to me at least. Maybe if you actually play it,
it's all for a D6.
Be fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like. Yeah, and if that's like on a fighter, they might have like 4 or 5 guys around, and then the DM's having to make a bunch of con saves. And, I feel like it could slow things down for not a whole lot of benefit.
This next one's great. Protection is just gain temporary hit points.
Yeah, which is really good and really simple. So good work there. And yeah, it's plus your charisma modifier. So again, that's like a nice thing where your stats are directly affecting what's going on. Good stuff.
And ingenuity, they get advantage on the die roll, the inspiration.
Which I think is cool.
It's only for ability checks, though.
Yeah.
So if somebody's trying to make something or do something, then you could make them better at that.
I think that's a good one, because there's a lot of times where like, is it even worth rolling this die? I'd have to roll like above average on it for it to work, and you're more likely to make like risky saves with it, as opposed, because often I think
it's just ability checks.
Oh, ability. There's still times when that could work out pretty handy.
It's for crafting or persuading, which is like the important thing. The amount of times you get into like the we are talking to the king moment, and like we must convince them, and it's like, oh well, the bard gives him his inspiration check.
His inspiration he's got a floating magic note above his head though.
Everyone's aware of it.
And everyone can see it. Is that the reasoning behind it? They want, because that's the way it is for a lot of, like for example, the genie, the warlock genie. They had the thing for their bond where the bond is a visible thing between the two things, which meant basically that was just so you can't be invisible and hide forever. Like you can be traced, and that has an obvious, not like mechanical difference, but it's that's
it lets the orcs understand it.
Exactly. I guess that, but this doesn't even have that, because it lets the enemy know that guy's got a bardic inspiration. Thanks.
Careful, guys, that guy's inspired.
That guy's so inspired. Oh, that guy's got a note. Floating around his head. That bit's dumb. The things that it's do are fine. I think the destruction ones, I would never use the destruction one personally, because The other two are just better, or rather, the protection's better.
Oh,
Temporary
Theo,
points.
from this art, I could tell you didn't like this guy.
I despised it. Every second of it was the worst.
He's doing a jig going, I could already tell.
There's actually one thing I love about it that comes later, at the end. No, I'm famously not a huge fan of gnomes, and also famously now disliker of this class. So I thought
combine the two.
Okay, but when I was doing this, I did have thought this is actually like the best like tinker gnome class, apart from probably artificer, right? Because of this next bit, which is animating performance. Again, a massive wall of text. Because they don't want you to have too much fun. That's not fully the reasoning, but it's just limitations on, make sure that you don't screw around too much. Basically, you can target a large or I didn't realize it was large or small non-magical item, and you can make it dance about. Basically, you sing a little song, play a tune, and it animates and is dancing about. And I don't like this for the idea. This is what doesn't fit. One of the things that doesn't fit with what I would want from this kind of a class, but I do kind of like the idea behind this ability, because it means you get basically a kind of familiar. You get a little dancing around item. You can make your own flying sword. Yeah. And it gives you the stats for it, and it's got good AC, 16 AC, and its health. Hang about. How do you know what the dancing item's constitution is? Oh god. Well, whatever. Its health is weird, but it increases with your class and stuff. So. Oh right, but why didn't it just say? Anyway, whatever. Fine. I guess the DM could potentially say that it's got more or less con, depending on what you're animating and stuff.
Scarecrow.
Yeah. So basically, it flies about or slides about. It takes the dodge action, or it can make a slam, which does a D10 plus your charisma, which is actually kind of cool. Again, it's one of those things where I don't have any issue with this as an ability, and I think it could have you could have a lot of fun, especially if you have a couple of things that are your signature thing that you carry around a puppet, or I don't know, you have a bag of stuff that you throw out and then animate it. So again, I think Tinker Gnome, I think this would be good because they already have they have a little automaton, right?
I completely agree with you. It's coming together in my head too.
Yeah,
it could also make sense for
some
more ahistoric instruments as well.
Yeah, yeah. But this is the bit I really liked about this drawing.
What is this little thing?
Oh my god!
No, I don't know if you guys will remember. You might remember this thing, but this made me laugh very loudly and for a long time when we were meant to be revising about 8 years ago for some exams we were doing.
He's just a little bone boy.
Do you remember it? There's a video of a street performer.
Oh, the puppet! Yeah,
the puppet of a skeleton.
Yeah.
He tosses around. And it made me lose my mind. We were in the library and we're we've got to be quiet. And we're meant to be revising for our final exams of school. And someone put this video on no man.
It's a very animate puppet.
I was trying so hard not to laugh. I literally thought I was so miserable drawing this. Up to this point, I was I hate this because I tried for an hour to draw something that I thought was cool. I was I'm gonna try, and I couldn't. So I drew something awful.
So you put clogs on him and
to a terrible gnome. And if you like gnomes, that's fine. My hatred of gnomes is slightly exaggerated.
I do
man, I hate this.
He is this little dancing skeleton, but he is also kind of in the pose of a Bloodborne boss.
Yeah.
That's what he does in the video.
It was 3 size categories bigger.
It costs enlarged. Crumbs. But yeah, so that's good. The little dancing guy I think is good and fun. Again,
or large dancing guy because he can be large.
Large is kind of crazy. I didn't realize it was large. That could be quite intimidating. But yeah, it doesn't fit what I want this class to be, but it fits what they are making. So I'm not gonna rag on it for that.
So basically, the only one thing about the class is just like mechanically. So that means performance of creation is obviously really good.
Performance of creation, I think, is really. It's such. Again, it's yet another massive wall of text. And I can't
I'm
even
so
remember.
into this art now. Because he's blowing his horn and the little guy's shaking his ass. It's great.
He's got boxing gloves on as well. This is in the video. Anyway, okay. So the 14th level bard thing. This is the last thing this class gets, or this subclass gets. So you can make a non-magical item appear within 10 feet of you.
Oh right.
Okay. And it's gotta be of a value that can't be more than 20 times your bard level. Which, yes, you're right, means you can never make a telescope.
Oh no!
Because at most you could make something that's worth 400 gold.
Glass.
You couldn't make plate mail, and you're 14th level at this point. It's got to be large or smaller, so you can make a larger. So that's pretty good. Like making something large, there's not a lot of things that like even some. I'm thinking like stone shape and stuff. I think it is just like a 5-foot area. Of course, they have to have this line: tiny, glimmering, intangible notes float around it.
And you can
Great,
faintly hear
thanks.
music. Unearthed Arcana's byword, I feel, should be faintly hear music. It comes up so often. Faintly hear gear noises. Faintly hear this. Faintly hear that.
I guess it's trying to inject that flavour.
Yeah.
It even like it says here, like advice, like, hey, you can. Basically, we mean the equipment list from the player handbook. Which again, I love the equipment list. I love me some caltrops, some pitons. I love me a crowbar,
A bullseye lamp.
all these great items, really cool stuff. You're 14th level.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being excited at being a 14th level bard and being like, yes, I can't wait to make some ball bearings.
Also, it disappears at the end of your
ball
next
bearings are good.
turn.
What? It disappears at the end of your next turn!
You can use your action to maintain it, but that's your action.
For up to a minute.
For up to 10 whole turns of
What is that for?
I don't know, like getting up a hill, but you're 14th level. You got
We
fly,
need a boat.
probably.
Like, what is...
And again, 400 gold maximum. You couldn't make a boat. The boat has a value, and it's more than that.
There's
I'm
a
pretty sure.
wizard. The Wizard of Conjuration?
Yeah.
At like second
Yeah.
level, he can make hand tools and things just appear.
And again, this is you can't make anything magical with this. It resets on a short rest, or you can spend a spell slot of 5th level or higher to use it again.
Here we go. If you maintain the item for the full minute, it continues to exist for a number of hours equal to your bard level.
So if you do it, so basically that if you spend a minute, just
What are you making?
it lasts for like 14 hours.
And then you need to spend a 5th level or higher slot to use it again.
But you can only have one thing at a time. If you use it again, it'll disappear. Yeah.
Yeah. The first one immediately vanishes, so you can't
I don't know what you're meant to, because you couldn't even make like a potion of healing because that's a magic thing,
Yeah.
like explicitly, and it's in the equipment list, but you couldn't make it.
You can make a wagon.
You can make a wagon, but like.
Make a sled.
You're 14th level. This is like such a minor thing
make
that
a
you can
rowboat.
solve with this. That sucks. That's
Like,
terrible.
I'm reading stuff. Wait.
I know. Like it's so like what?
A carriage?
I don't.
I feel like unless we're missing something,
Guys, a
I feel
chariot, guys. Okay.
So what? Your teammate can pull you along. You haven't got a horse.
Well, Sam, you could find steed.
Is this so that you can make a large item to then use your dancing performance?
You know what? It could be.
It could be that, but like
No, but then you've got to you either spend a minute just channeling this,
you
channeling
make it
this like big wardrobe to jump around, and that is even attacks, or you have to prep for a minute before a fight to have it.
Isn't animate objects a 5th level spell anyway?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's also pretty good. Bard, I think, suffers post like level 10. That's the point when you're like,
maybe
I might start multi-classing. This does not make me think, I'm gonna get to 14th level in this. I'm gonna invest.
For the grand finale of a class, I think this is the worst one I've ever seen. as like the final thing your class gets.
Again, like the fact
is there something we're missing?
That's what I feel like we have to be, but I don't know.
You boys and girls out there, is there something we're missing?
Because this seems terrible.
You can't make an anvil and drop it on a guy's head. It's got to appear on a surface or in a liquid that can support it. Which I guess is them saying, "Please make a rowboat." That's what it's for, making boats. That's what this is for.
Guys, we put in this liquid line to make a
because I've never because I've been playing Forge Cleric and they have a kind of similar thing at first level, no, second level I think actually, and I don't think it has this line. So that is explicitly saying, "Please make a boat." Oh, please.
I mean, you could make reading through this. You could make any supply, any alchemist or brewers or cook, any of those supplies. So if you needed any tools whatsoever, you can make them.
Again, it's such a...
Any instrument you can make, because it's quite valuable. Like, 400 gold isn't enough for the very expensive items, but it's enough for basically anything else.
And it's enough for most of the stuff in the player handbook, apart from plate and telescopes, as I say, and a lot of the vehicles and stuff.
I'm just going to look at the wizard for a sec.
Yeah, just quickly check it on that.
Okay, here's this one. So, starting at second level, when you set score, you can use your action to conjure up an inanimate object in your hand or on the ground in an occupied space. This object could be no larger than 3 feet on the side and weigh no more than 10 pounds. It's non-magical. The item is visible, the object disappears after an hour, and you can just do that whenever. That's at will. You can just make hand objects up to 3 foot as a wizard at second level.
Yeah, that's better. If you want this, like that thing, there's like 3 other classes that can get you that earlier. And again, like, I guess the idea being that you could make like a big lump of iron that's 10 feet by 10 feet for 14 hours.
I guess that couples quite well with the Forge Cleric, but like...
Yeah, but then it'll disappear.
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Why?
I agree that surely we're missing something, because this sucks
I'm going to reread
so bad.
it again.
But there's so many words.
No, I can't read.
There's too many. I've reached my quota.
Pointless making any of the weapons because you can just buy non-magical equipment.
Yeah, because you're 14th level. That's so high. You're like a demigod at that point.
Is it just for the flavour of Snow Whiting it? You know, where you're playing the music and all the birds come out to craft the item. Like, is that...
Maybe.
Is that all this is for?
That is still terrible.
Don't worry, guys. I have a basic understanding of the music that created the universe. Yeah, and so my ultimate ability is that I can make a rowboat for a few hours.
I can make a shovel.
At max level, it wouldn't even last a day. Not even 24 hours at max level.
Other people at 20th level are like gods, and you're like, I can make
nearly last a day. Will. I can wild shape at will.
Yeah, forever. I'm a paladin. I've got like wings and like an aura of divine light. I'm a god.
My chariot lasts 20 hours.
I could make my big clockwork man dance.
Oh god.
So compare this to the other bards.
I've said this before in other videos. Bard of Eloquence is great.
Yeah.
Such a good bard class.
I love that bard.
I think it's like by far my favourite. It's probably one of my favourite subclasses just because because I always liked bard conceptually and always felt slightly disappointed in 5th. And then that subclass came out, I was like, yes, this is everything I wanted. That changed. The 14th level for that one, I believe, is when someone fails on a check, even though they use your inspiration, they get to keep it.
Yes.
So basically, they have it until it makes a difference, which is so good. It's really simple. Doesn't require like 2 paragraphs. It's really simple and so good, so effective. Because again, you don't get that many bardic inspiration die, and having it guaranteed to at least make 1 check like pass is great. Really great. I'm trying to think of other things at 14th level that you get. I don't even remember half.
Oh my god, I'm just reading the base bard ones, and we're chatting crap about this one. Compare this to Peerless Skill from the College of Law. Starting at 14th level, when you make an ability check, you can expend 1 use of Bardic Inspiration and add that die roll to the number you've rolled.
Yeah,
it's just being able to use Bardic Inspiration on yourself, and that's your 14th level ability.
Again, I just remembered this is why I was really disappointed in Bard. What's the Valor one? Is that you can cast a spell and make an attack?
You can cast a spell and then attack with a bonus action, like the 3rd, 5th level ability from Eldritch Knight.
Yeah, Bard is...
In context, guys, this is actually pretty good.
Okay, what I will say is it's not worse than either of those abilities.
I toot my horn.
I will give you that. It is not worse than being able to put a D10 or whatever it would be at that point on a check.
Cleric, your divine intervention is guaranteed to work.
Yeah, at 20. And Cleric at level 10 can get their god to say to divine intervention at 10th.
Alright, I think we are getting a little bit distracted and talking about lots of other classes.
Anyway,
yeah, but it's all in the context of this piece of shit.
Wow.
The thing is, I think Bard is historically in 5th not very good, which is annoying because I like it, and it's still, I think it's fun because the way that their spell selection and stuff works, they get some cool spells. Bard Exploration's always good. It's not super exciting, but it's good. But yeah, definitely the base class is not very interesting, and I've not liked most of them. Eloquence fixed all that, and then they're like, well, Theo really liked that last Bard. We've got to really, really piss him off. We've got to make something really bad that should be great. We've got to write a title to draw him in that's exactly what you want, Theo. And then we've got to kick him in the face.
And then
put something awful on. And
Bard, more like bad.
More I think that's the end of the video.